I saw online, the guys recognized that some of the part numbers of the airbag module in the Chiron has the same numbers, not all of them, like an Audi module, and that it could physically fit.
Imagine taking on one of the world's most complex hypercars when the manufacturer refuses to help, sells no replacement parts, and declares the project impossible. That's exactly what Mat Armstrong faced with a written-off Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport, a supercar engineered so tightly that only the factory is supposed to touch it. But what happens when determination, modern fabrication, and transparency collide with corporate gatekeeping? The usual rules shatter. Today, you'll see how one person's message sparked a rebuild and how YouTube eventually stepped in. Rebuilding the unrebuildable. Taking on a project like rebuilding a Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport is far from ordinary. This car represents some of the most advanced automotive engineering ever produced. A quad turbocharged W16 engine, a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox designed specifically for its staggering 1,500 horsepower, and an ultra-precise carbon fiber monocoque chassis. It is not just a car, it's a highly integrated system where every part is engineered to work perfectly with every other. That level of complexity alone sets this hypercar apart from virtually any other vehicle on the road. What makes this case truly extraordinary is that the car was written off after an accident, leaving a wreck with potentially reparable visible damage. For most cars, even some high-end exotics, such a situation opens the door for independent rebuilders. Parts become available through aftermarket suppliers, salvage yards, or even the manufacturer. But not here. Bugatti's approach is rigid. No parts are sold outside their authorized network, no technical support is provided, and the procedures required to rebuild are deemed too complex and risky for anyone but factory-trained experts. This refusal to cooperate creates a seemingly insurmountable barrier. Without access to parts and official guidance, independent builders traditionally face a dead end. For Mat Armstrong, acquiring this written-off Chiron was more than a repair job. It was a direct challenge to the idea that such a car could never be fixed outside the factory. His dilemma wasn't just physical. It was a deeper battle against a system that claimed only Bugatti had the right or capability to breathe life back into their cars. At its core, this project exposes a conflict between ownership rights and manufacturer control. Once a car is declared a write-off and sold, logic suggests the owner should have the freedom to repair it as they wish. But technical complexity and parts exclusivity lock the door. To many, the Chiron is not just a car. It's property Bugatti retains control over, even post-accident. This raises intense questions about autonomy, expertise, and access within the ultra-exclusive hypercar world. What makes the issue even more compelling is the kind of obstacles Mat faced. Bugatti's CEO publicly stated that essential repairs would require splitting the car's carbon fiber monocoque, a precise, risky procedure typically carried out only in specialized factories. The complexity here isn't theoretical. It's a very real technical and safety challenge. Any mistake could cause irreversible damage. For most independent builders, this declaration quashes hope before the work even begins. Still, the visible damage told a different story. Some components, while expensive and rare, were not inherently destroyed beyond repair. The question wasn't simply if the car could be physically restored, but if it could be done without Bugatti's cooperation. Mat Armstrong's resolve meant pushing past this boundary. The car became a symbol of defiance against a tightly held monopoly on knowledge, parts, and control. This setup framed the stakes perfectly. What was at risk was not only a multi-million-dollar hypercar, but a principle. Whether independent builders could prove that rebuilding such a masterpiece was within reach. No outsider had successfully navigated the process that Bugatti said was impossible. Mat's project would either confirm the gatekeeping narrative or shatter it completely. It was clear that the full story involved far more than bolts and parts. And this time, YouTube stepped in. YouTube's massive support amplifies the rebuild. From the moment Mat Armstrong announced that he had purchased a written-off Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport, YouTube became more than just the platform hosting his videos. It became the driving force behind the entire project. What started as an ambitious rebuild quickly transformed into one of the most talked-about automotive series online. Millions of viewers tuned in, eager to watch someone attempt what one of the world's most prestigious manufacturers had effectively declared impossible. Every upload generated intense discussion, with fans analyzing every repair, debating every technical decision, and anticipating the next breakthrough. Unlike traditional automotive media, YouTube allowed the entire process to unfold in real time. Instead of polished promotional videos or carefully managed press releases, audiences witnessed every success, setback, and unexpected obstacle exactly as they happened. This level of transparency created an authentic connection between Mat and his viewers. They weren't simply watching a finished restoration, they were experiencing the journey alongside him, celebrating milestones and sharing frustrations whenever new challenges emerged. As the rebuild gained momentum, YouTube's recommendation system exposed the project to audiences far beyond Mat's established subscriber base. Car enthusiasts, engineers, mechanics, and even casual viewers with no prior interest in hypercars began discovering the series through recommended videos, trending pages, and shared clips across social media. Each episode attracted millions of views, turning what could have remained a niche automotive project into an international conversation about ownership, repair rights, and manufacturer control. The overwhelming response from viewers also created something far more valuable than entertainment: credibility. Thousands of comments praised Mat's methodical approach, his willingness to admit mistakes, and his commitment to documenting every stage of the rebuild without hiding failures. Rather than presenting himself as someone who already had all the answers, he showed the learning process openly, allowing experts and enthusiasts alike to contribute suggestions and technical insights. This collaborative atmosphere reinforced the idea that innovation often comes from shared knowledge rather than exclusive access. As support continued to grow, the rebuild evolved into a broader symbol of the right to repair movement. Many viewers saw the Bugatti project as representing a larger issue affecting modern vehicles, where manufacturers increasingly restrict access to parts, software, and technical information. Mat's determination resonated with owners, independent mechanics, and automotive professionals who believed that purchasing a vehicle should also include the freedom to repair it. The discussion expanded well beyond one Bugatti, sparking debates about consumer rights and the future of independent automotive repair. The sheer scale of YouTube's audience also meant that Bugatti could no longer ignore the project. Every update reached millions of people within days, ensuring that each new development became part of a global conversation. Whether viewers agreed with Mat's approach or defended Bugatti's position, the rebuild generated enormous visibility for both sides. In many ways, YouTube leveled the playing field by giving an independent creator a platform capable of matching the reach traditionally reserved for major automotive brands. That tension sets the stage for Mat's approach, a strategic push that would force a confrontation with Bugatti's tightly held technical fortress. Mat Armstrong's strategic response. Faced with a closed door at Bugatti, Mat Armstrong knew that the conventional path was blocked. The options were limited: abandon the project, comply with the manufacturer's monopoly, or chart a new course entirely. He chose the latter, but with a clear and calculated approach that avoided fury or rash actions. His first move was a direct, calm message to Bugatti itself, not an online rant, but a measured statement laying out his intent and placing responsibility carefully. In his message, Mat distinguished between the company policy and the individual leadership of Bugatti's CEO. He explicitly stated that if the decision rested with the CEO alone, parts might already be in transit. This nuance was critical.
I wasn't involved in the Chiron development, but the Tourbillon has no parts from other cars. We have to customize all of them.
It shifted the focus to corporate decisions rather than personal confrontation, signaling respect while quietly challenging the structures blocking his rebuild. It showed strategic thinking, acknowledging the company's complexity while refusing to accept blanket obstruction. The tone of his message was neither aggressive nor reactive. It was businesslike, with clarity and calm conviction that spoke to someone thoroughly prepared. This was not a threat, but a firm statement of intent. I have no choice but to proceed and get this car on the road my own way. See you soon, Bugatti. The words carried weight because they reflected months of research, planning, and hard-earned knowledge rather than empty bravado. Behind this message was a commitment to transparency and meticulous care. Mat had spent extensive time understanding the technical challenges, studying the car in detail, and working with specialists. He recognized the risks involved in procedures like splitting the chassis, but was confident that with proper preparation and methodical work, these obstacles could be overcome safely and successfully. His approach was also a public declaration. By stating his intent clearly on record, he invited scrutiny and set expectations. This openness contrasted sharply with Bugatti's silence and refusal to cooperate, framing the battle not just as a private disagreement, but as a broader issue of access and expertise in the automotive world. Moreover, Mat's plan relied on leveraging modern technology, from 3D scanning to CNC machining, and the growing network of specialists who could provide independent repair solutions beyond factory limits. He was building a blueprint for how hard-to-service hypercars might be resurrected without manufacturer approval. This strategic stance represented a challenge not just to Bugatti, but to the entire industry's approach to repair exclusivity. It was a quiet but unmistakable statement that independence and innovation could coexist. Even in the most tightly controlled segments of automotive engineering, the message was sent, the line was drawn, and the rebuild was no longer just about a car. It had become a test of whether determination, expertise, and transparency could break corporate monopolies and redefine ownership in an era of advanced engineering. As the challenge grew clearer, the moment came to put words into action. A moment when bold claims would face the ultimate test. Splitting the Chiron, defying manufacturer claims. One of the most daunting steps in rebuilding the Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport was the need to split its carbon fiber monocoque chassis. This wasn't a simple matter of unbolting a panel. This highly specialized structure serves as the very safety cell of the car and the backbone of its engineering. Bugatti's own CEO had emphasized publicly that only a few places in the world with the right equipment and trained personnel could safely perform such a procedure. Doing this outside the factory was declared impossible and dangerously risky. Despite these warnings, Mat Armstrong set out to perform this highly complex disassembly himself. Preparation was thorough, detailed, and deliberate. Every step was carefully planned with specialists to ensure the loads on the monocoque were managed precisely, and all attached systems were disconnected to avoid catastrophic damage. Unlike a reckless attempt, this was engineering discipline applied with patience and respect for the car's design. Filming every moment, the process unfolded in real time for an audience that felt the tension. There was genuine uncertainty until the front and rear sections cleanly separated without harm. This moment carried profound significance beyond the physical task. It dismantled the strongest argument Bugatti used to argue that only factory experts could work on their cars. The successful split exposed the gearbox and powertrain, areas previously impossible to access outside factory walls. This openness allowed for accurate assessment of the damage, moving the project from conceptual to concrete. Bugatti's claim that independent builders could not handle such intricacies lost its most powerful example in that single act. Mat's response was telling. "See you soon, Bugatti." Far from bravado, these words reflected confidence, born from mastery over the procedure that was supposed to be too complex to attempt. It was a direct challenge to the exclusivity claimed by the manufacturer and a statement that barriers could be overcome with the right knowledge and careful execution. This achievement shifted the narrative from impossible to doable. It proved that with meticulous preparation, even the most exclusive hypercar procedures are not beyond independent specialists. The door opened wide for the rebuild's next phases, with new avenues for sourcing parts and repairs now visible. The impact resonated not just with Mat's audience, but throughout the automotive world. It questioned whether manufacturer gatekeeping based on technical complexity could remain absolute in the face of such transparent evidence. The technical monopoly was cracked, and the stakes were now unmistakably higher. With the core structural hurdle overcome, the project could advance on multiple fronts. The momentum was now real and public, setting the stage for tackling the numerous parts and components that Bugatti refused to provide. The work of rebuilding had truly begun. Independent fabrication and repairs. With the car split and the gearbox revealed, attention turned to solving a critical puzzle: how to replace or repair parts Bugatti would not sell. The Chiron's design is so exclusive that many components simply do not exist outside the factory. This exclusivity extends beyond mechanical parts to structural elements like the aluminum horseshoe, a complex load-bearing cast piece connecting multiple systems. For most, this would spell a dead end, but Mat and his team took a different path. Using detailed 3D scanning technology, they captured the exact dimensions of the damaged horseshoe. This digital blueprint allowed them to recreate the part using modern CNC machining techniques. The goal wasn't merely to replicate, but to potentially improve upon the original design, pushing the boundaries of independent fabrication quality. Other key components followed similar paths. The Chiron's radiators, initially thought to be irreparable, were sent to a UK-based specialist known for high-performance cooling repairs. Contrary to assumptions, none were beyond fixing. Restoring these radiators directly contradicted Bugatti's implicit message that the damage was too severe and repairs impossible without factory involvement. The exhaust system presented another challenge. Bugatti's parts network does not offer replacements, meaning a full custom fabrication was necessary. Valvetronic, a specialist fabricator, built a bespoke exhaust tailored to the Chiron's specific sound and performance characteristics. This solution highlighted how advanced aftermarket suppliers can fill critical gaps when manufacturers withhold parts. Mat's team also faced the unique challenge of the wheels. The Chiron's hubs and brake systems demand wheels designed to precise, proprietary specifications. Standard aftermarket wheels simply don't fit without risking safety. Again, 3D scanning enabled the creation of custom-fit wheels, ensuring performance and compliance with safety standards without factory parts. Every fabricated or repaired component became a foundational case study, publicly documented and accessible. These examples serve as proof points that the parts monopoly can be circumvented with modern technology, expertise, and careful collaboration. The supposed necessity of factory parts is no longer undefeated. The broader significance of this phase is profound. It's not just about one car coming back from the brink. Independent builders everywhere now have a roadmap for tackling hypercars that were once off-limits. It's an open invitation to challenge long-standing monopolies on repair and maintenance. The barriers set by Bugatti began to look less like insurmountable walls and more like doors waiting to be opened by the right combination of skill, technology, and determination. With these independent solutions unfolding, the story is no longer about what Bugatti says is impossible, but about what can be done when the right mindset refuses to accept limits. A wider impact on hypercar ownership. This rebuild is about much more than one Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport coming back to life. It challenges a deeply entrenched business model where hypercar manufacturers rely heavily on two main pillars: technical complexity and parts exclusivity, to maintain total control over repairs and the vehicle's life cycle. These pillars often place owners in a position of dependency, where the manufacturer alone dictates if and how a repair or rebuild can happen. By successfully splitting the chassis, exposing the gearbox, and fabricating or repairing parts independently, Mat Armstrong has pushed back against this control. The notion that only factory-trained professionals with exclusive access to parts and information can service these hypercars faces a serious challenge. His detailed documentation creates a public record and reference point for independent builders worldwide to follow. The implications reach beyond Bugatti. Other high-end manufacturers that maintain similar policies are now observing closely. If a car as complex and exclusive as the Chiron can be brought back without factory parts or support, it weakens the argument for rigid manufacturer gatekeeping across the luxury automotive industry. This may encourage a shift toward more openness and new opportunities for independent shops. More importantly, owners gain potential alternatives. The rebuild shows that hypercar ownership doesn't need to mean permanent dependency on the original manufacturer's network. With modern fabrication tools, specialist expertise, and determination, independent rebuilders can take on projects once deemed off-limits. This greatly enhances aftermarket options and repair accessibility. Mat's project also highlights the power of transparency. By meticulously documenting every step online, he closes critical information gaps. The expertise and solutions are no longer locked behind corporate walls but shared with millions. This breaks the information asymmetry that allows manufacturers to maintain tight control over their cars' afterlife. Each successful repair or fabricated part isn't just a fix for one vehicle, it's a precedent. It builds a cumulative body of knowledge that others can reference, replicate, and improve upon. Over time, this erodes artificial barriers and fosters a broader culture of independent innovation in the hypercar space. However, the road ahead remains challenging. The Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport is still far from fully rebuilt, with major assessments and manufacturing still underway. Yet, every step completed disarms the manufacturer's arguments and brings the rebuild closer to completion. It's a methodical dismantling of exclusivity, one documented action at a time. Ultimately, this project symbolizes a shift in power dynamics. It's proof that corporate control, no matter how formidable, can be challenged through expertise, transparency, and persistence. The consequences of this could change how hypercars, and perhaps all advanced vehicles, are maintained and respected as true owner assets. Mat Armstrong's rebuild of the Bugatti Chiron is more than a restoration. It's a bold challenge to industry norms about ownership and repair. By proving that complexity and exclusivity aren't insurmountable, he's opening doors for independent builders everywhere. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to like and subscribe to follow every step of this groundbreaking journey.